Today, I want to share with you our experience with having a baby here in Germany. And if you're new to our channel, we are the Trailblazin Peppers, a family of 4 living in Bavaria, Germany. Having a baby in the States, as stressful as it is, now add in a different language and different health practices, and it is bound to make the experience more interesting. This is our son Truett. He was born a couple weeks ago here in Germany. But before we start talking about the birth process, let's start at the beginning with the prenatal care. Since we are a military family, our experience may be slightly different, but all of my care was done through German providers. After I found out I was pregnant, I had to go to the clinic that is on our military post to take a pregnancy test to prove that I was pregnant and do a small class on what to expect during my pregnancy with the prenatal care and what it's like to give birth here in Germany. Next, I was given a list of all the OBGYNs that I could pick from, and I picked one that I had heard a lot of good things about. At the OBGYN office, I received this Mutterpass book, and it has all of my records in it during my pregnancy, and I would take it to all my appointments, and I would keep it with me just in case of an emergency. And I really enjoyed this book because it kept everything organized with all my appointments in it and all my health records. First off, in Germany, I had several more appointments than I ever did in the States. I had 13 appointments with my OBGYN here in Germany. And also another big difference is how many ultrasounds you get. You get an ultrasound at every appointment here in Germany. And in the States, I only had an appointment at 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and 20 weeks with our first son. And if you wanted to see your baby more in the States, you had to go to a special baby center to pay more per ultrasound to see your baby more. Another bonus to the OBGYNs here in Germany is I got to see a 3D image of our baby every time. So that was really neat to see a different view of our baby other than the plain ultrasounds. I never really discussed my birth plan with my OBGYN because another big difference with having a baby here in Germany is that the doctor you see throughout your pregnancy is not the doctor that delivers your baby. Because in the States, the doctor you see throughout your whole pregnancy is typically the doctor that delivers your baby. For some people, that is really nerve-wracking to know that the doctor they saw their whole pregnancy is not delivering their baby. But for me, I wasn't really that worried because I had heard before that the doctor that I saw during my prenatal care was not going to be delivering my baby. Next, we're going to move on to giving birth here in Germany. And if you've hung around for this long, don't forget to like and subscribe. At 32 weeks, you can go register at whichever hospital that you want to birth the baby at. At this appointment, you fill out paperwork, you discuss your birth plan with the health care providers there at the hospital, and if you want an epidural, you meet with the anesthesiologist and fill out their paperwork. Supposedly in Germany, their epidurals are not as strong as ours in the States. I've heard you can still get up and walk around, while in the States, you are in bed and you cannot feel anything from like here down. So that is a big difference than in the States. In Germany, it is not common to schedule an induction. They typically want to wait until you're 7 to 10 days past your birth date. In the States, I scheduled an induction and had Griffin at 40 weeks. Another difference here in Germany is that the midwives play a huge role. There was a doctor in the delivery room, but the midwife delivered Truett all by herself. In the States, since we had Griffin in a university, there was a medical student, a resident, and an attending doctor helped deliver him, but no midwife. In Germany, the standard mother and baby room is shared. That was the most shocking thing for me, was sharing a room with another mom and her baby. In the US, the standard is a private room, and I really enjoyed having a private room when we had our son Griffin, because after birth, you just want to be alone, and you're trying to breastfeed your baby and changing, and then having another mom in there with you is just not an ideal situation, especially after giving birth. Private rooms are available in the German hospitals, but you do have to pay an extra 100 euros a night. In the hospital that we stayed at, they only had one family room, and that is a first come, first serve basis. You can't reserve them, so if they're not available when you give birth, you don't get one. Also, there was no TV in our room, but they did have Wi-Fi, so I was able to use my iPad, and Lucas was able to use his laptop to watch some of our favorite shows. Next, the food. So breakfast was a German breakfast. It was a cold buffet with deli meat, rolls, cheese, muesli, yogurt, and then lunch was a hot meal with multiple options to choose from, and then dinner was the same as breakfast, the same kind of food. So if you're not into that kind of food, bring some snacks and your favorite food. Most of the healthcare workers did speak English, so that was very nice and comforting to have them be able to communicate with me and to tell me what was going on before the baby and after the baby. Next, after birth, the baby stays with you the whole time. In the US, after you have that bonding time with your baby, sometimes you can request for the nurse to take the baby to the nursery so you can get some rest or just take a shower. But here in Germany, you pretty much keep your baby with you the whole time. I did send Truett to the nursery for a couple hours so I could get some rest, but the whole time we were in the hospital, he was in the room with me. Women are encouraged to stay in the hospital for 2 to 3 days after a vaginal birth and 5 to 7 days after a cesarean birth. I went home just after 24 hours since I had an uncomplicated birth and everything was good, and I also wanted to get home because I wanted my privacy and the comfort of my own bed. In the States, it is common to go home after 24 hours, and for cesarean birth, you can go home after just 2 days, sometimes 3. Here in Germany, the first baby's checkup is typically done after 48 hours of being born. But since we left just after him being born 24 hours, we had to call the clinic and schedule him an appointment as soon as possible. Now on to some things that we really did not like about giving birth here in Germany. And one of the big things was the visiting hours. They were just from noon to 6, so Lucas was never allowed to stay the night or be there early in the morning. And that was a big deal for me. I did not like that. Another big difference is in the US, they offer pain medications more freely. Here in Germany, you had to ask, and there were times that I asked for pain medication and I did not receive any. I also didn't like that I wasn't getting checked on as often, like especially my blood pressure, or then pushing on my stomach to see if my uterus was healing. And I don't know if that is just from my experience or if that is just common here in Germany, just not getting checked on as often. Besides those couple things that I didn't like, we really did have a great experience, and it was a lot less daunting than I had expected. Sometimes I would hear some horror stories from other moms about how awful it was having a baby here in Germany, but overall, our experience was really good, and we got to come home with a healthy baby boy and just a great experience with having a baby here in Germany. This is my personal experience with having a baby here in Germany, and yours might be completely different. And thank you for watching this video on me comparing the differences between having a baby here in Germany and in the US. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe.